Welcome back to Long Island Viewpoint. I'm Ken Rosato. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, reports that approximately 2 million Americans are victims of workplace violence every year. Now, these incidents cost businesses billions of dollars annually, and almost 50% of all businesses have had at least one violent event. A new book is out on this subject. Please join me now in welcoming the author, Bill Whitmore, Chairman and CEO of AlliedBarton Security Services. Bill, thanks for being with us.
Ken, thanks for having me in.
Is it a higher number today, or are we just hearing more about it today?
Well, the statistics are showing the number is increasing. And when you think about it, people don't realize that workplace violence is the second leading cause of death behind traffic accidents. And when I share that number with people, they're, frankly astonished that it's that high.
Is it violence caused by one inflicted on another intentionally, or does that also include accidents and things like that?
No, workplace violence is intentional, and we've developed, based on the data available, a continuum. And we see mild behaviors from, mild threats or verbal abuse up to, more moderate behaviors, simple assault, more terroristic type of threats, all the way up to, severe incidents such as, murder.
We're going to show your book cover that you just came out with, Potential. There it is right there. When did you come out with that?
We just came out with it, and it's my attempt to link a survey that we did nationally on workplace violence to leadership. And the survey revealed that 1 in 3 Americans are afraid to be on the job every day. It revealed that most Americans feel leadership isn't tied into preventing workplace violence. So as a result, this book was my attempt to link workplace violence and the leadership, and thus potential.
Well, now, in this day and age when we have such a litigious society, you have an awkward scenario that could be set up where if you accuse somebody who you suspect of potentially causing workplace violence, they could sue you. If you don't do anything and they do commit violence, then you get sued. What does an employer do?
Well, I think an employer should act seriously if an incident comes to their attention. When you look at the data that we discovered in the survey, 53% of companies respond to threats of workplace violence, while the remainder do not. So my advice is take it seriously. If an employee comes to you and alleges whether it's a mild form or a serious form of workplace violence, the employer should act upon it. And I really don't think the employee should worry about the litigious nature of our society. If they're being threatened, they should report it and have something done about it.
What happened in Virginia on the military base a year and a half ago? We had a major who was a psychiatrist, who was a soldier, and he was radicalized. And all the members of his family aren't. They're very mainstream American types. He became radicalized, but everyone was afraid to report it for fear that it might look like they were being anti-Muslim. What do you do? Now, you're saying you go ahead, but there's that fear. Let me clarify, that is just one example. I'm just picking that one out of my head. There are a lot of other examples that have nothing to do with faith. So I'm not trying to tie it into faith.
What's very prevalent, and it came out in the survey, is that almost everybody in the American workplace believes that it's not their job to prevent workplace violence. So unless leadership takes the attitude with whether it's military or it's in the American business, that this is something we're taking seriously, we want everybody to act upon it. There's training programs. If you look at, there's about 10 markers, and the fellow you're talking about, he exhibited almost every marker for workplace violence. Think about it. Almost every one was prevalent. And we hear over and over again, gee, I saw it coming. I should have done something about it. So there's a prevalence of it's not my job, and it really has to be everybody's job.
Tell us about the continuum. We have a graphic to show about this as well.
Well, I want to make sure when you look at this continuum that you recognize that somebody who exhibits mild behavior is not exhibiting necessarily, on the path to a violent act. But certainly there's a pattern of the mild behavior, such as, mild threats, abusive behavior, harassment. It could lead to something more serious. And the point of the book and the point of the data that came out of the survey is that if you're trained on this, if leadership takes a view that you're trained on this, you can help prevent these incidents. Think about if you compare this to occupational safety. America's going out to stop accidents, right? We've trained people, we send them, what's dangerous. We've corrected processes. The same thing can apply to workplace violence.
What about the employers? There are so many myths. They believe, that would never happen here. Sometimes we have stressful days, but it'll never get to that point.
Right.
There are some myths that exist in the workplace.
Yeah, there's really 5 of them, but it'll never happen here is a big one. It's a luck of the draw. You're either lucky or not lucky. It's always by an outsider, which is absolutely the wrong perception. We protect so many people from coming in, yet the fact that much of workplace violence happens within, with co-employees. And the last one is what I was just speaking about, the prevalence of it's not my job, it's somebody else's job to prevent it.
And what about a link between leadership and the physical activity, if you will?
It's interesting. 1/3 of Americans do not report workplace violence because they feel that leadership of their organization is not concerned about their safety on the job. So the link is strong. 44% of Americans feel that their leadership have no interest in preventing workplace violence, while only 17% believe they do. So if you look at the correlation between the high number of people who don't report it and a perception that leadership doesn't care about it, that's the link to leadership.
That is an amazing number. What about employees being afraid of retribution? This employee is harassing me, but I know that this employee is friends with the general manager, so I'll keep my mouth shut. What happens?
Well, it's a tough thing to get over. And you have to be encouraged through training, through different programs to report it. Think of one tactic that's out there, 800 numbers. Any employee can call an 800 number and report harassing, abusive behavior, and it'll go to the HR department anonymously, or sometimes they identify themselves so that action can be taken so people can observe it. When you think that only half the time that an incident is reported that an employer even acts upon it, it just shows you how it's not taken seriously.
We're going to show the book one more time just so that people take a look at it. This is probably the best thing. If you're a manager or an owner of a business, you should take a look at this at the very least. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you're an employee to take a look at it either, but certainly to keep your workplace safe, it's something that folks should definitely take a look at if they're running a business. With about a minute left now, Bill, could you just tell us, for a workplace incident, if it should occur, what is the proper procedure? Do you keep everybody there, or do you separate them? Do you fire people? What's the best process?
There's all kinds of training in how to deal with a hostile employee, how to deal with a dispute. There's dispute resolution training. And I think depending upon the circumstance, there's, 5 or 6 or 8 tactics. And the point of my book is to inspire people to learn about those tactics so when that incident does occur, they know what tactics to deploy. Because, if you have somebody's very violent, obviously that escalates to the point of security and police and, really taking the person out of the scenario where something may be very mild, and it may be that HR is deploying conflict resolution.
Well, it is certainly a good thing that we had you here to talk about. It's something that a lot of people, I'm sure, have not given much serious thought to, and they absolutely should.
Great.
William, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Ken.
For more information on all of the organizations featured on Viewpoint, and if you happen to have missed a segment and would like to watch the show at your leisure, do visit us at 7online.com/viewpoint. We'll be right back with the electrifying